Star Wars officially confirms the star of the new Acolyte series, Book of Boba Fett Season 2 may have accidentally been kind of revealed, and Simon Pegg says us Star Wars fans are the most toxic. All that more here on Chatooine. Welcome back, Star Wars fans, to Chatooine. We're having a unique one. This is our season 2 finale, and it's just me and good old Palpamemes this one. Good old Goldman is on a very nice vacation. Lunga is still fighting the streets of Chicago at the moment. We wish him well. And we wanted to do this one, and it's on the Sunday night. I apologize for the weird timing. Is that we're changing things around on Chatooine? We normally do the shows on Wednesday nights. How many times have we changed the dates that we do these? Like the second or third time now.
It's yeah.
I think we had him on set. No, we used to have them Friday nights. Remember when they used to release on Friday the shows like Mandalorian would come out on Friday nights, right?
It was Friday, yeah. But I don't think I
Okay.
was here for that.
Dang.
No, I wasn't.
I don't even
I
remember when he
wasn't.
came on. I think we've done this for like almost 2 years, if not 2 years at this point, which is really shocking to me. We've flown by. Where are the numbers at, guys? Well, why aren't you subscribing? Where's
Spread the
Chatooine
word.
at? Yeah, honestly, spread the word. No, we've been doing good, and I'm really proud of the show. But we're taking a break, of course, after this one, and this is just kind of a weird one, just to kind of say, hey, we are taking a break. You guys don't think we're abandoning you or the show's going downhill or something like that. The Civil War is always at work. But we're going to take a break, and we're moving Chatooine from Wednesday nights to Sunday nights. Sunday nights kind of work out best for everyone, in the show. All four of us, we're all off normally on Sunday nights. And plus, it gives you guys time to watch every new episode of any Star Wars show that comes out. Kind of gives us time to decompress for the week and everything, and then look at the stuff that's coming out ahead. So Wednesday nights going forward are no longer the nights that we're doing Chatooine. It will be on Sunday nights. We'll have to talk with Lunga and Goldman on what our return date is. I don't know if we should do it the Sunday before the Andor premiere or if we should do it the Sunday after the Andor premiere. Like I said, we'll talk to those guys, but still, we have some interesting stuff to talk about. Quick little tidbits to go through before we get to our big topic of the day. Also, I think going forward, it'd be kind of cool if we had like certain segments in the show. At the end of each episode, maybe read some fan questions or something like that. We can implement ideas to Chatooine that you guys like.
I've had the idea of getting those occasional viral Twitter posts on Star Wars Twitter or something like that, and kind of going over them, and because some
Yeah,
of them are interesting, some of them I'm like they get me thinking. But I mean,
that's
it's just
that's
stuff
that's a
like
great
that.
idea. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's a great idea.
more engagement.
Oh, see, and I feel bad about this. Where's my final review of the last Kenobi episode? We were literally just talking about this. I've been so bad about uploading on my YouTube channel, and I think Pal Memes. I know you use Adobe Premiere Pro, right? That's
Hmm.
what you're editing. So I don't. It's, behind the scenes tidbit. I have been editing on my laptop that's like $600 for like the past 5 to 6 years. Literally in 2016, I bought like this 800, now 600, $500 laptop, and it's good. But I've been editing on a bootleg Sony Vegas. I kid you not. I never paid a dime for the motherfucking thing. Well, now I have like this nice PC setup to dual monitors and everything, and Adobe Premiere Pro is on it. And I've been trying to learn how to edit on that, and I've just been kind of going through some classes and everything the past couple of days. That thing is confusing as fuck. I don't know what it is about Adobe that like it just like the workflow, setting up the workspace, just cutting and splitting, all that stuff is just so different to me. So I've been kind of wanting to learn that before I came back to YouTube, and in my absence, I've clearly not uploaded my last episode. So Pal Memes is probably gonna have to give me tutorials on Adobe. 'Cause, dude, I hate that
Man,
thing.
I love Adobe, and I was in the same boat. I started off on HitFilm, if you're familiar with that, and then going to Adobe, I was like, kind of just took me by surprise. I was like, oh, I can do this, and then you get to it, and you're like, oh, this is like a professional editing software.
Yeah,
Once you get the, and I don't know how tech savvy you are. I've always been
not at
real.
all.
Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. I'll pick up on tech stuff like that. So it might take you longer than me, but once I got the foundational cores of it, I was like, oh, this is everything kind of lines up together. It all kind of comes to one place. So once you get that down, it's not awful.
Yeah, no, I'm a fucking idiot, and so I've been life has also kept us busy as well with stuff. Miss Only has moved to another state, and so like for like 2 or 3 weeks, I was in that state helping her move and everything. So it's been a venture. Life has been interesting as of late, but don't worry, Chatooine's still here. We're never going anywhere. I mean, Chatooine can never die. Starting off, I don't know if this is big news. And I kind of want to get your take on this first because I'm still the Acolyte is a series I'm most looking forward to. But in this new report, this actually came from Star Wars. They officially confirmed what's her name? How do you fucking say that? A mandala?
Uh, I
A
forgot that.
mandala?
I just typed in the Acolyte. Let me.
A mandala?
I keep.
Stenberg?
It looks like Amidala, like Padme
I
Amidala.
know that's what
I'm just
I
gonna
think that's
say
ingrained in my
Amidala.
brain.
Yeah. Uh, Amandala. Amandla.
A
That's weird.
mandala. A mandala
Stenberg.
Stenberg.
I'm
Okay,
calling her
well,
Amidala. I don't care.
yeah, she was she was she was Rue, wasn't she, in the Hunger Games? I remember that from
Is
the
that who it
books because
was?
I remember reading that as a kid, or well, yeah, when I was a kid at the time. And Dear Evan Hansen, she's been cast in the upcoming Star Wars series, The Acolyte, and reports leaked this back in December. But Star Wars officially confirmed this like last Friday, and it's one of those like weird posts where they just kind of were like, "Oh, hey, by the way, this is happening," and no one reacted to it really because they didn't really make that big of a deal of it, which is fine. But still, we have our official casting for our lead in the Acolyte series. I think when they announced the Acolyte series, what was this back in 2019 or was it
No, it's 2020 because he was
2020?
with
The Disney
the.
Investor Day, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So when that happened, that was my most anticipated project.
Mm-hmm.
Was it yours as well? We had similar.
Because that was the day they didn't announce Kenobi then, did they? They announced the
It,
casting, didn't they?
they already had Kenobi announced for like a year by that point,
They
but they did
released the
announce
cast,
Hayden.
didn't they?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was the cast yet, but they definitely said
It was
Hayden was going to
Hayden.
be
It was
in
Hayden
that.
and Ewan. So I think at the time Kenobi was my most anticipated, but this no doubt in my mind was, well, he's either this or Rogue Squadron, but I want to say
Oh
Acolyte
yeah,
because of the whole dark side element of it
yeah,
that
yeah.
takes the
So
cake.
now that we're, geez, almost 2 years past that time, this probably won't come
Jeez.
out until like late 2023,
Yeah.
early 2024 for Lucky. Filming started not that long ago. Where is this at in your anticipation? Is this still your most anticipated Star Wars project? Because I will admit, it's kind of faded for me ever so slightly, and not because they have done anything wrong, and definitely not because of the casting here. I knew it was going to be a female led Star Wars series. I love the timeline. I love the dark side aspect of this, but for some reason, I just feel like maybe it's because of the lack of marketing or just me being disgruntled with Lucasfilm over the past 6 to 8 months. I feel like my anticipation for this has kind of dwindled slightly. How are you feeling about the Acolyte series right now?
My That's how I feel about pretty much every Disney Plus Star Wars show going forward.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the biggest issue we're facing with here is I I didn't really like Boba Fett. I loved chapters 5, and I thought chapters what was the chapter? Wait, hang on. 5 and 6 were the Mandalorian and Luke and Grogu stuff, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no Boba in that.
I enjoyed that except for the end where Luke sends off Grogu and gets mad at attachments. I'm not getting into that because I'm gonna go on a rant. But I enjoyed those. But I wasn't happy with Boba Fett. Kenobi was a mess of production. I liked it. I liked Kenobi throughout. But the budget, oh man, the budget. And so I think going forward for Disney Plus shows, I'm like, I don't know if I don't know if this is working, guys, because when it comes to Star Wars, they have these huge projects and this huge story to tell on a low budget, and that's never a good sign for me. So I think with that in mind, my hope for Acolyte has weakened. And I know
Mhm.
we have that kind of controversy with is it Leslie Headland?
Leslie Headland, yes,
Headland,
she
yeah.
is. What was it? The Russian Doll series head. A lot of
Which
people like that series.
I don't care. I've never seen that, so I'm not going to
Me either.
speak on that. But I believe it was her that said like she never really saw Star Wars before this.
No, no, no.
Is that one?
I think she no. She's a fan of it. She talked about how she was a fan of like the Phantom Menace when that was coming out and
Oh,
everything.
okay.
But she said she has a writer in the writing team for this. You know how they always get like writing groups together
Mm-hmm.
for a series. One of the writers in this team specifically said that like, well, not even specifically said, like she came out and said they had never seen Star Wars before this, and so they would always come up with these questions like, so Luke and Leia are brother and sister kind of
That's
things.
what it
Yeah,
was. So that
yeah.
isn't. I'm always open. I always like the idea of getting a new person in, like someone who's new, but getting someone in who's never seen the franchise in the first place. I understand we need fresh ears and fresh minds and stuff, but there's no mind in Star Wars whenever you know what I'm saying? Like it's a really complicated situation because on one end
Hmm.
I think having a fan who is newer and not biased on nostalgia and all that has a lot more to bring to the table um or in terms of potential than someone like Dave Filoni or Favreau who really just kind of dwell off of or I don't know if dwell is the right word. They kind of just
They look at
lynch
it like what
on
they remember for Star
yeah, they
Wars.
lynch on nostalgia. I mean, I'm trying to be nice here, but they lynch on nostalgia. They write based on it. As simple as that, which is fine. I like it. Um, but whenever you bring in a writer who's never seen it beforehand, what are you doing? What are you doing, Kathy? But we'll see. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm still giving it the benefit of the doubt. I think with Leslie in charge of the writer, I think they can bring something good.
Well, I admit that like this has been my most anticipated series from the concept alone, and
Hmm.
that's what I like about this is the uniqueness of this is taking place during the High Republic. This is about a dark side Force user, likely like a Sith acolyte, which is in the name, of course, and that's what this new character who's going to be. Potentially a black female lead. It could be an alien. Someone was putting that in the comments of like, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool to have
Mm.
another character as a lead who isn't a human?" I think that'd be a very interesting concept, and I wouldn't mind that being explored in this series. For me, the concept alone is what's selling me and was keeping me engaged in this Acolyte series, and makes me really curious about it because it is new, and I don't think it will have to rely too much on nostalgia. It's a brand new era in Star Wars that we've never seen before in live action. All that really keeps me engaged. Leslie Headland is slightly a red flag for me just because I don't know her work that well, and that's really it. I mean, I just do not know her work, so I do not have the trust for her just yet, and I also don't know if she's going to end up being. I don't think she's going to be the series director at all. Actually, I think she's just going to be the showrunner and the writer. The Bespin Bulletin, very credible news outlet for Star Wars fans, they had a scoop saying that they were hearing that the Loki director, the
Mm.
series for Loki, is actually going to be the director for this, which could work. I didn't see Loki, so I don't really know how to judge that either. But I know Marvel and Lucasfilm were different in this approach. So overall, I think the series has the highest reward potential
Yeah.
out of any of the Star Wars series. But I kind of want to go back to what you were saying earlier about how like the Book of Boba Fett and for me Kenobi, both of those series just really, I mean, was Bad Batch in between those as well, or did we get Bad Batch before Book of Boba? I
It
think it
was
was before.
before. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So those three shows that we've had in a row, all three Star Wars shows, all three of them have been really, really letdowns and disappointments for me personally. Maybe not everyone in the fandom, thank God. A lot of people do enjoy these series, but like you were saying, so far they have set this pattern where anything that is not the Mandalorian is normally a little subpar. So it makes me nervous going into a series like The Acolyte, seeing how Kenobi was shot and the budget they gave Kenobi.
90
It's just
million.
not 90 million. I mean,
90
that's
million.
just with something like that. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. No, probably true. They always say like, normally your budget and your marketing budget are about the same. I think the marketing budget was probably more than the actual budget for the show in the Kenobi series, which I mean, it did great numbers and we wanted that. But
Oh
man,
yeah.
it just for some reason that show didn't really work for me. A lot of it was the visuals and stuff as well. It looked lacking in that budget. I'm curious if the Acolyte is going to suffer from that, and that is what I think has kind of taken my excitement for this down just a little bit. And literally the Acolyte has done nothing wrong at all. It is just it's setting yourself up for disappointment a little bit if you expect it to be on par with Obi-Wan or on par with Book of Boba Fett season 2. Since we're both kind of disappointed with both of those, I think it would be foolish of us to be like, well, the Acolyte's going to be different. It's like, well,
Well, I mean, because we're setting a precognitive not decision, but mind on that, which isn't necessarily backed by bias. It's backed by history.
yes,
However, if we look future, one thing that does give me hope that I keep forgetting about somehow because they don't market this, Andor looks beautiful.
it does.
It looks beautiful. So if we take a look at these three shows that they obviously could have done a lot better job, and then we look at Andor, which hasn't come out yet, but just based on the trailer, I remember watching the Kenobi trailer and I was like, oh, I was hyped because it's Kenobi, and obviously I was hyped. but even seeing that was like, ooh, this looks kind of bad in terms of like visuals. But when I look at the Andor trailer, a character who I have no really care for, and the trailer just looks phenomenal. The shots, the sets, because they actually use real sets on it. I think we can take that into account. That maybe maybe they're starting to learn this stuff, and hopefully Acolyte is produced as well as Andor is looking to be.
I wonder what that is too, because for me, what sets Andor's apart from these other series is simply the team behind it. You have Tony Gilroy, who is guy who came in who saved Rogue One in
Yeah.
production, and he's saved this series as well. It's supposed to be canceled. Then he came in and took over as the series showrunner. And I do agree that Andor looks really good. I feel like the as per usual, the team at Lucasfilm hasn't done a great job marketing it at all, and the fandom hasn't really been that responsive to it. But if this series is done well, like if we all, when I say we all, I mean like mainly we diehard Star Wars fans, the people like us who do like shows and channels and podcasts on it. All of us really like Andor. That's great. I just don't think we alone will be enough word of mouth. Like I feel like Andor has a possibility of doing what the Mandalorian season 1 did, where it had great marketing behind it because it was launching Disney Plus, but what really sold the Mandalorian season 1 was the word of mouth of everyone going, "Hey, this
Yep.
series is really have you guys heard of this new Star Wars series, The Mandalorian?" I feel like Andor could replicate that just a little bit because it is kind of the underdog at the moment for a lot of Star Wars shows and series that are coming out. This is the one that people I think are least anticipating. And I remember being a critic when they announced the series, being like, I do
Same.
not want to see Andor at all. But as time has gone on, as we've seen more, mainly from the trailer alone, it was like, okay, this actually looks good. Doesn't mean it can be great, but it does mean it can be very good. So I think we have some positive optimism for Andor to break that pattern of kind of lower budget, lower quality of storytelling that I think we've gotten from the past 2 live action Star Wars shows, but the past 3 Star Wars shows on Disney Plus in
And it
general.
goes beyond Star Wars. Marvel had I don't really watch the Marvel shows because I kind of gave up on the MCU. But from what I've heard of my friends, Marvel has the same problem. I mean, I've seen all sorts of stuff online about horrible CGI and lack of
Oh yeah,
production
the
and unfinished
VFX is the
work.
big one. Mhm.
I'm looking at Andor. We call it the underdog, which is true. I'm looking at Andor. The teaser trailer only has 6.6 million views right now, which is low. Mandalorian season 1 teaser trailer. I guess we never got a teaser trailer for season 1, but the main trailer official had 25 million.
Hmm.
So there's a sheer difference there. And of course, again, it's different as the first Disney Plus production, the first Star Wars live action show. There's a lot more back behind it, and it's a Boba Fett lookalike. There's more to Mandalorian, I think, than, Andor had behind it. I think Andor could be phenomenal. We know now the timeline has been revealed, and it seems like they have a really big plan for this, which excites me and gives me a little more hope in this project compared to others, knowing that they really, really care about this and have this story. Like, this is the story we want to tell over the next, I don't know how many years
Yeah, I
before
think it's
season
like
two.
5 or something, but like this one takes place
Yeah,
what a couple years before season
two.
2, and then season 2
Yeah.
leads up right to Rogue One. So I think
Four or five, I think. Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
it seems like a good plan for Andor so far, and I don't know. Tony Gilroy should surprise us. He is a very solid creator. Something that did disappoint us though was the Book of Boba Fett season 1, and there was this new promotional image that well, I think they were doing a promotional event in Spain for Disney Plus, and some fan spotted Book of Boba Fett season 2, and it was in Spanish, and I mean, translated to English, it said, Book of Boba Fett season 2, kind of planning in the future. First off, do you think this is credible? Do you think this is like an actual slip up, or is it just how promotional things kind of people slip up with those? They say
Yeah.
things or type things that aren't accurate. What do you think about this?
Mm, it's hard to say anything. I mean, would it surprise me if they do a season 2? No, it wouldn't surprise me. Um, I don't know. I really have, because I've looked at the image. I'm like, ooh, is this Photoshop? It doesn't look Photoshop. There's no indication that it is Photoshopped. It looks legitimate, like an actual Disney thing. Eh, I really don't have a say. I think I'm leaning towards yes, it's real, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like it's real. It's not even one of those things where it's like, oh, is it real because I want it to be real? It's like I don't really want a season 2 from
Yeah,
Book of
same.
Boba
So,
Fett,
yeah.
but I wouldn't expect anything less. They also called it a mini series, and I feel like a mini series could technically be 2 seasons. That would like the
Easily, yeah.
Andor is supposed to be 2 seasons. To me, that is a mini series. So Book of Boba Fett getting a second season will make it a mini series. If Kenobi does a second season, even though it shouldn't, it will be a mini series. You know,
You know
so
we're getting season 2 of Kenobi.
yeah,
Those actors would not be talking the way they were talking about wanting to come back if they weren't planning a season 2.
yeah, that's happening, and I think for that reason, we're also probably gonna get a Book of Boba Fett season 2. Star Wars kind of needs right now a little bit of familiarity. Familiarity is comfort, and they need to make Star Wars fans comfortable at the moment until we get the new Star Wars movie, which who knows what the hell's happening with that side of things at the moment. So I think doing a second season of Kenobi, a second season of Book of Boba Fett, these things could happen within literally 2 years. Like in the next 2 to 3 years, you can get both of these shows to have their second seasons come out, and we still wouldn't have a Star Wars movie, and that would do a really good job of filling the gap between 2019 and whenever the next Star Wars movie may come out, which is looking to be 2025 at the moment. 2023 is
Not 2023, no way.
I don't know the way they've been talking about things. It's been real curious. Kathleen Kennedy was like late 2023. It's like
No,
sweetheart, you already had it
no.
booked for December. How much later you want to get in 2020?
Taika literally says, "I'm still I don't know if my movie's even gonna happen."
Yeah, that motherfucker
Come on,
literally was
man.
like, he's like, I'll pitch it. I'll give him the script, and then we'll see if it gets made. I'm like, what do you mean?
What does
then
that
we'll
mean?
see.
Now, I wonder if they saw the new Thor, or they're waiting for the Thor movie reactions, because we have this issue with Patty Jenkins and Squadron and 1984. It's a reoccurring issue at Lucasfilm. That's why I really would wish they would just stop hiring these big name directors who make a great MCU or DC film or whatever the case is, and then like, oh, they're popular, let's get them on board.
It's funny the pattern of history that has too. I mean, you look at like any of them, like Josh Trank, he did really good with what was it, Chronicle, the found footage superhero
Yeah.
film. He did that. Everybody was really excited. He was making a Fantastic Four movie that flopped, and Lucasfilm was really happy to let him go for that Boba Fett movie. The writers for A
I'm
Quiet
glad they
Place.
did that.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the Boba Fett movie would not have been great.
No, Fant Four Stick was, oh boy, it was a
Yeah,
movie. It was
yeah.
something.
Then what was it? The Quiet Place writers, they were brought in to possibly do a Star Wars movie right after Quiet Place did very well. Colin Trevorrow after Jurassic World was a huge deal. Came in to do Episode 9. Looking back, a lot of people are happy about that because his movies afterwards weren't doing so well. Just
Makes me happy.
yeah, Lucasfilm, even the Phil Lord, Chris Miller, the guys who did the first half of a Solo Star Wars story, they were let go, and they were hired because of 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, like the Lego movie. They were doing really well, and so Lucasfilm just seemingly has this pattern in history of, let's get these directors like Gareth Edwards, who did great with Godzilla and then gets Rogue One, like they let them go once they realize, oh, you might be a one and done kind of deal. They only really get them immediately after they struck gold. And it's just like this. It's such an odd way to go about making these Star Wars movies, because now it's crazy how much history we have with this now, because even with Taika Waititi and Patty Jenkins, Taika's hired after he does great with The Mandalorian. He does great with Thor Ragnarok. I love him in this series called Our Flag Means Death. He's the executive producer. It's a very, very good series. And I mean this, and this is going to sound really homophobic, and it's not. It's a really gay series. Like, it is just like every guy in there is gay, but it's still a really fucking good series. But anyways, Taika comes in, does he's supposed to get a Star Wars movie, and after this new Thor movie comes out, everyone's like, I don't know if I want him doing a Star Wars movie. Patty Jenkins does Wonder Woman, does great, brings her in for Star Wars. The new Wonder Woman movie she does sucks, and everyone's like, I don't know if I want her for Star Wars anymore. Oh my god, Anne, I have another one for you, Papa Memes.
Another
Game
one?
of Thrones.
How could we forget? They're gonna do the origins of the Jedi.
Yeah, they get their own trilogy about Dawn of the Jedi.
No. We've got one more. Ryan Johnson. And in this case, it was an actual Star Wars movie they had him hired on, and everyone hated it.
Yeah. Well, and then they hired him after, well, I mean, Looper was out for some time.
He was.
But Kathy really liked his work, and he was coming off of the Breaking Bad, one of the final episodes.
Yeah.
He did amazing. So it's just funny how, like, this has just been the pattern of history.
Ending, and it makes me so sad.
You can almost predict it now. Like a lot of people remember when that rumor was going around the block. The girl who did Eternals was going to become a Star Wars
Oh yeah,
director.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody was like, "Oh, it's going to be great." Eternals comes out, and people were like, "Oh, I don't know if I really want her to do one." And talk on the block is that she's going to do a second Eternals movie, but get a lot less creative control over it.
Mm.
So I have no idea what's going on in the
It's a
production
mess.
realm.
And what's annoying is like the one person who is like probably one of the hottest directors right now in the business, Matt Reeves. I would love for that guy to do a Star Wars story after
That'd be interesting,
after
yeah.
the Batman. He would do a fantastic job. But I'm also like, this dude threatened to quit and did quit because he wasn't getting creative control on the Batman movie. So yeah, there's no
Oh,
way he's working
he
with.
would hate
There's
Lucasfilm.
no way
God,
Disney, man. There's no way he would work with that. So like I'm thinking back, I'm like, yeah, he would definitely quit, if history repeats itself.
and it has a tendency to do so. I'm really curious, like maybe in the next couple months or even next year, if we here on Chatooine can predict like going forward who the next like Star Wars directors will be based
There
off
won't
of
be any.
what. Well, that's a good
No,
point
no,
too.
no, no. Me and Akaro have this running joke about J.J. Abrams and how like Kathy keeps coming to his door, knocking on his door while he's making breakfast, saying she needs to talk to him because they keep letting these directors go, and she keeps asking for him to come back because
Oh yeah,
he's the only
every
one that would
time.
work with them.
Yeah, every time they let somebody go, they go, JJ,
Hey, JJ, I
hey
know we had a
buddy.
little fallout with your 9.
Yeah.
Look, listen, we promised to make things right. Here's the thing, we do have this one story.
Yeah, yeah. You can't do everything you want. We know we didn't let you do anything with 7, limited you on 9. Maybe this time we're thinking about the possibility of you maybe having creative freedom, and by that I mean like 20%.
And then Disney, what's funny is like looking back, like on the research of 9, he did have pretty much all the creative control you could have asked for when it comes to a studio like that. And then Disney came in and wiped it all away. Like they had all like, rumor, but like he had all this crap in this film, and then Disney came like, and it's not even really rumor anymore because his own editor for the film, I forgot her name, but she's a fantastic editor. I really like her stuff. She literally said, and these are her words, "I lost the film," and whatever date she said, I can't remember the date, but yeah, she said she lost the film to Disney in this month. They changed so much crap, it's insane. But that man is probably getting PTSD every time he gets a knock on his door because
Yeah.
him and Terrio had the same issue with Justice League, you know. And then he comes
Oh
back for
yeah.
9, and the same crap happens. I feel bad for them.
Well, I don't feel so bad for Terrio. I don't know. I can't act like I'm a fan of his work.
That's fair. That's fair. I do feel bad for his Justice League situation though.
Yeah, well,
You
that
gotta
and the
feel for him
whole
on
Zack
that.
Snyder thing. Like, I people are like, I want Zack Snyder to be in Star Wars. I'm like, that man is a nightmare in anything he's in. Like, he just seems to bring production issues nonstop. But God bless him. God bless him.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah. I mean, I liked his movie. Um. Anyway, next topic.
300.
It was fine. It's
The
fine.
masculine movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. I remember the sequel though, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" Or it was
He didn't
actually
make the sequel, did
no,
he?
it was a prequel. It was a prequel.
Yeah, he
It
didn't
was
make
like,
that one, did he?
he was an executive producer or something.
That
He
one,
was
yeah.
involved. Yeah, that one's
My
pretty bad.
dad was so disappointed. He was so sad on how bad it was.
Every man was. But the big thing that happened this past week is good old Simon Pegg. What's curious about him is he used to, I think, be a like creative consultant for Star Wars when he was brought in for the Force Awakens movie. I think it's largely because he's a friend of J.J. Abrams. But anyways, he recently was doing a podcast on Jim and Sam radio show, and he was asked what franchise he thinks has the hardest fans to please. And he says, to be honest, and as someone who was, kicked off about the prequels when they came out, the Star Wars fan base seems to really be the most toxic at the moment. I'm probably being very controversial to say that. He said that he himself was once a toxic Star Wars fan and contributed to the backlash against Jar Jar Binks actor Ahmed Best with the Star Wars The Phantom Menace open theaters. And he said he's ashamed for contributing to that backlash. Controversy around Jar Jar Binks led Best to consider ending his own life. And this is what Peg says. I've apologized for the things I've said about, Jar Jar Binks because, of course, there was a fucking actor involved. He was getting a lot of flack, and it was a human being. And because it got a lot of hate, he suffered, and I feel terrible about that part. But a lot of people, mainly I noticed on the Fandom Menace side of things, funny enough, were really upset with him saying that he thinks the most toxic fandom is Star Wars. And I actually, one of the parts of this, I'm getting this from Variety as a news outlet for this topic. one of the things they do not put in this article that I noticed him saying in the podcast was he was saying that one of the differences is that like Star Trek, because this is when I think of fandoms. Like I think of fandoms like, you know, for him, he's involved with Star Wars, Star Trek, Mission Impossible. I think even Doctor Who. And out of all those, he says Star Wars is the worst. But he talked about Star Trek and how he said the wokeness and the diversity aspect of Star Trek has never really been that much of an issue of late. He said, well, I mean, I've seen it be an issue online. He was talking about how when Star Trek was initially formed, he said it was already really dealing with diversity, having like a female captain, I guess. I think she was like the first mate of like a ship or something. And you had a lot of black leads, a lot of Asian leads. He just talked about how it was very diverse and that Star Wars is trying to do the same thing now, and that's what's making it apparently woke to some people, and why he thinks I guess the Star Wars fandom is just the hardest to please and the most toxic fandom. But after everything I just said, pal memes, what is your reaction to Simon Pegg saying that this is the hardest fan base to please, and it's also that it's the most toxic?
Well, I'm thinking about that last quote, that one that no one really talked about, because that's an interesting idea and point of view, you know. And people always point to Leia and Lando, and look, I don't care what anyone says, they didn't really have a whole lot to do there. I don't consider them main characters. Main characters of the original Star Wars is Luke and Vader. Even Carrie Fisher herself was disappointed on how her character was handled in the originals, and the lack of character, therefore, she doesn't really have a whole lot going on. But we still love her to death. And with Star Trek, I've never really gotten into Star Trek, but he is right about that. It's always had that kind of diverse foundation from the get-go. But I don't know what to say about that. In terms of the toxicity, I don't know why people are getting mad at that. I think it's kind of almost a no-brainer in a way. I mean, we have over 2 decades of this. 2 decades of harassment, people just giving up on acting and stuff, and from the prequels to George Lucas to now Daisy, John Boyega, Abrams, Johnson. I mean, Kathy Kennedy. It goes far beyond just these movies were hated. It's been a thing of over 2 decades, and I haven't really been in many other fandoms. Like the MCU isn't like that though. DC and the whole Snyder stuff, I think that's gotten pretty out of hand, but that's not something that's been going on for over 2 decades. I think the problem with the Star Wars toxicity problem is that it's been going on for so long now, that it's hard not to say that it's the worst, if you can say that. Like, Star Wars fans are weird because that on one end they're the worst, on the other hand they're the best. It's a really complicated situation for me. I love Star Wars fans, and then like I get so irritated at others at the same time. I don't know how to describe it, but I can't say I agree with him. I can't say I disagree with him, but I do appreciate him being upfront that he was once a person who talked horrible about, what was it, Ahmed Best and all
Well, he didn't
that.
talk bad about him specifically. Yeah, he talked bad about Jar Jar. I mean,
Okay,
he
yeah.
talked bad about the Phantom Menace,
Which
vehemently.
I'm not, and I see this in the comments a lot, and I hate when people do this, is they say, "Oh, criticizing means you're toxic." No one says that. Okay, there's people that say that, and they're goofballs. Don't listen to them. But when we're talking about this, no one is talking about you being a criticizer of a film. No one's talking about that. What they're talking about is, I mean, I found this interesting. Go to, like, it's 2022. Go to J.J. Abrams' Instagram page. Go to his comment section. Read the comments. Now go
Any
to
Star Wars post, any Star
now
Wars post at all
anything.
now.
Now go to J.J. Abrams' wife's Instagram page, a small little Instagram page with like I think she's got like 3,000 followers, and go to the comment section. There are still Star Wars fans in her comment section talking crap about her husband and how horrible of a person he is. And it comes down to that level and that amount of toxicity, and anyone who doesn't think this existed for over 2 decades, just go watch The People versus George Lucas. I know that title turns a lot of people off. I held off on watching it for a while until we did our show on it, which was really fun. And I was like, holy cow, this is actually a really, really good, unbiased documentary. And it shows both sides of things. And we're dealing with the same thing now. So it's a frustrating situation because it's like, we need to call out. And honestly, I think we need to just ignore it. But at the same time, it's like kind of calling it out. Like, this is a problem. We need to put a stop to it. But then you've got people deflecting and saying, no, we're just criticizing. It's like, we're not talking about people who are criticizing or dislike Star Wars. Yes, those people exist, but We're talking about those that harass the actors, the directors.
It is a very fine line that we Star Wars fans have not been walking that well, because there's like so many sections of it now
Mm-hmm.
where you have people like us, and on Chatooine we're very diverse in our opinions, not diverse of course like as fucking people, we're all white guys except for Longa
White
who's
man.
Italian, yeah, Italian, but still, we can separate the art from the artist. We can separate, like Palpameme's his favorite Star Wars movie is Rise of Skywalker. I couldn't imagine watching that. Like, I can't stand that movie.
Shock
And like,
value.
yeah, I mean, there's just so many things that we like completely disagree with each other on. But it feels like the fandom is so split. You have people in the fandom menace who almost anything and everything is now like woke, and you have people who kind of started the fandom menace who almost disassociate themselves with it, but at the same time kind of rally them behind anything they do. So when J.J. Abrams does something like you were saying, like he makes a post on Twitter and you see a bunch of people lighting up his comments and Twitter and Instagram saying, you've ruined Star Wars, it's awful, stuff like that. It's
Years
like,
after.
yeah, it's like
Years.
that's not criticism anymore. I posted something on Twitter the other day. It was a TikTok of this guy being like, he's like, oh man, like, yo, that thing over there, like it's a damn shame or something like that. And they're like, just like it's a damn shame what they did to the sequels or something like that. There's someone bringing it up in every conversation. That's the stuff that I feel like we're dealing with today, where it's like we as a Star Wars fandom cannot call out our own toxicity, because the second we do, people in the Star Wars fandom will revert back to us and be like, well, your opinion doesn't even matter. You're a sequel fan, or you're a prequel fan, or you're a sequel hater, or you're a prequel hater, or you said this. Like we've had this big fandom. We all like the box of Star Wars is the big Star Wars fan base, and then there's like 10,000 boxes inside that one box, because we all have our little groups. And I think the groups have kind of alienated Star Wars fans from themselves, where now almost no one is a true Star Wars fan anymore. People like this happened to me on fucking Reddit. Someone was like, I'm not watching Star Wars Only's documentary because he's like the worst channel ever. And so many people on Reddit, and I think it's Reddit specifically, and even maybe on Fandom, not Fandom Menace, on Twitter, people think I'm part of the Fandom Menace. And I'm like, what have I ever done to make
I
you
love
think
it, man.
that? And it's stuff like that where it's like the people who are very pro sequels. And I'm not using this to defend myself or make grandiose gestures about me, but people on the sequel side of things look at my channel and they're like, I don't like this guy because not only does he not like the sequels, but he's part of the Fandom Menace. I'm like, whoa, like
Shame.
we've already lost the conversation and the dialogue here, because you don't even know what I stand for and where I'm at on any of this. Like I do not care what you think about Star Wars and what your opinion on half the stuff is, but we've become so polarized in this community that we have that, I mean, Jesus, it seems like we're destroying ourselves in a way.
I think what happens is we're so biased based on situations that happen to us, and I blame social media for this. And I think we're all guilty and take fault of this. Is we have so much biases against certain sections or something because of things that have happened to us in the past. So much like prejudice against. It's so odd because it's a fandom, and so like. I'm obviously friends with a lot of sequel fans, and I've noticed this and picked up from a lot of them. Is they've got such a heavy stereotype against anyone who criticizes the sequels. It's like they take that as an attack on them, and they take that as, oh, you're just as bad for criticizing the sequels as this person over here who's calling J.J. Abrams a hack publicly on social media. And it's like, no, there's a difference, and you have to be neutral when it comes to that. And something I find funny is you were talking about all these groups and sections. I don't know how I've never thought of this. The Star Wars fandom is basically like a public high school.
Oh my God, yes.
It's insane how many similarities. It is a high school.
Dude, I mean, I live out here in Orlando, right? And I mean, Jesus, people make jokes all the time about how if you go and you work at Disney World, and Disney World has like a lot, Disney World just has a lot of people who never really grew up from being high schoolers. And you get this in a lot of work. So you go to an office, it's kind of like high school in some parts again.
Mm-hmm.
But at Disney, if you work at like the Tower Terror ride or something like that, I'm sure everyone there feels like they're in high school again, because they all talk and they all gossip about each other and everything. That's how it is in social life. Like, we actually see people in person. But on in Star Wars, I mean, it's huge. You have your popular people, the YouTubers and everything, and some of them are a bit more popular than the others, and people are fans of these YouTubers, and that's its own little section of fans. And you got Old Republic fans, you got High Republic fans, you got sequel fans, prequel fans, and they seem to be against each other. And I like what you were saying about how they personalize this kind of stuff. Where because I can what you said about sequel fans saying, oh, if someone criticizes it, they're actually attacking me in a way, and they make it personal. Yeah, I literally can do the same thing because I see it on the Fandom Menace side a lot. Because a lot of my friends and mutuals, and actually not even friends that many anymore, but a lot of mutuals I see for the Fandom Menace will say things that remind me of that. Where if someone criticizes the prequels, or if they even remotely like the sequels, they'll be like, "Well, you're not a fan of Star Wars." It's like they took Star Wars from me. I'm like, wait a minute, buddy. Like, just because someone likes the sequels doesn't do you any disservice. And this is where it gets confusing for me with Star Wars fans. It's like, why the fuck do you care? Like, so much. Like, I've never seen so many people care so much what someone else thinks about something they either like or dislike. Like, if I do not like the prequels that much, but I do not care if you love it or dislike it. There's some things that I take away from the prequels that mean a lot to me, and there's a lot of things I take away from it where I'm like, man, you kind of like set a bad precedent going forward for Star Wars that may have ruined the entire franchise. And prequel fans like, you're wrong, and I hate you for saying that. It's like, okay, well then the conversation is lost. Like, we can no longer be mutuals in this fandom if you are going to alienate me or yourself from other parts of the fandom simply because we cannot agree on what we like or dislike about Star Wars. It's a disease.
Well, I think I don't know if you've seen this a lot, but I'm friends with Hello Greedo, and he's a really cool guy. He gets that a lot. The what you were talking about, how people on this other side, a lot of the prequel fans hate Hello Greedo because he was very vocally criticizing of the prequels and stuff. These same people that hate him for this, and I've seen this all the time. And when I say hey, I mean genuine hate. I have talked to people who are like, that guy's a piece of shit. Blah. They'll go on. I'm like, because he doesn't like movies, they'll go on and do the same crap to the sequels.
Yeah.
And I'm not, and it's like, that's fine. Criticize the movies you don't like. Criticize these products that you consume, because we are the consumers at the end of the day. We should always vote with our wallets and with the best interest in mind for the product that they're gonna produce for us. But people are so hypocritical in this fandom, and it's come to the point now. It's not a one-sided thing, and I don't think it ever was a one-sided thing. I think we've grown so much ever since the sequels have come out, because before then it wasn't even originals versus prequels, because the prequel fans, 95% of prequel fans were children when they came out. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just I don't want to say that's a fact because I have no actual numbers on that. But as a prequel fan who grew up with them, I've talked to a lot of Star Wars fans, and almost all of them who like the prequels grew up on them, and that's great. So back then, there wasn't any really war against the fandom, because all the kids who liked the prequels weren't really even on the internet. Whereas now you've got the prequel fans, the original fans, and the sequel fans, and then the fans of this and this and this and this, all online with their own groups and stuff, all on the same platform. And it just causes this wave of fights and this wave of, I don't know what the word is, something. It causes a wave of something. I don't like it. It's annoying.
It's a nonstop cycle. And I like what you were talking about, how like sequel fans are kind of going through what prequel fans went through when the prequels came out. But the prequel fans, like, they really fail to acknowledge that. To me, it's a lack of self-awareness that like baffles me. I'm like, you guys are harassing the actors. You guys are saying like these films ruin Star Wars. Like, they're verbatim repeating history, and they bitched and moaned about all the crap the prequels got, all the shit that George Lucas got, all the shit that they got as fans. They bitched and moaned for fucking 20 years about it, and now they're doing the exact same thing to the next generation of fans, and to these new movies that I don't care if you think they deserve it or if they don't. What's great about my position, and I've been in this position for years now, is like, well, both of your trilogies fucking suck. So I mean, like, it's funny for me because it's like the prequels are like, if you really hate the sequels, then I think you should really hate the prequels, because the sequels are reactionary from the prequels completely, and they like they came into the sequel trilogy making this and go, well, no one likes the prequels, Let's not do that. And then they make the sequels not like the prequels at all. And then everyone from the prequels is like, well, this fucking sucks because it's nothing like the prequels. It's just
Well,
so funny to me.
you say like, and maybe I'm biased, but in my opinion, like you say, like sequel fans are being treated the same way as prequel fans. I would agree with you if the prequels came out right now and the sequels came out in 10 years from now, because the prequel fans themselves didn't deal with any of this because the internet wasn't really a thing for them. It was, but in terms of social media and social interaction, it wasn't a thing for them. Whereas sequel fans, they're all already on the internet. These groups already exist. It's already popularized to be on the internet and social media and all that. I mean, everyone's kid is on social media and all that. So I do think there is a difference in a more severe level that happens to sequel fans compared to prequel fans, because prequel fans, I mean, and I say this from my own experience. I didn't go on the internet and talk about the prequels. I just watched the movies and played the games. I had no idea really they were hated as a kid, because I just didn't go on that. Whereas my dad was like, no, these movies are hated. People hate these things, right? Because he sees that. Whereas sequel fans now, everyone's on the internet. Everyone experiences this equally. So
See,
it's kind of different.
I see what you mean. The only part I push back on that I kind of disagree is that like the prequel fans growing up like weren't online for it. Like me and you weren't, because we were. I mean,
Right,
I
right.
was born a day before the Phantom Menace fucking came out. But like the '90s had the internet for sure. I think the difference is that I would categorize is that you look at the prequel internet hate that took, or just being involved with the internet. Like, let's say you're a Star Wars fan in the '90s, looking forward to the prequels. Let's say you're a Star Wars fan in the 2000s, reacting to the prequels. You being online like that took a different level of dedication to the
Mm.
franchise than it does today. So I would argue that if you were a prequel fan dealing with hate from the prequels back in the 90s, well, the hate would be in the 2000s. But if you were a Star Wars fan in the 90s, you had a different level of dedication that's probably a little bit harder to do than it is today. And if you were dealing with the prequel backlash and the hate in the early 2000s, while being online, or you were a fan of it or you were hating on it, like that took a different kind of dedication and almost polarization, especially for the hate. I mean, people made websites called jarjarmustdie.com. I mean, that's intense. And because of what the internet was at the time, it just meant you needed to commit more time to it. So I feel like the hate for the prequels was a lot stronger than the hate ever really was for the sequels, in a way. I mean, I guess you could argue differently now, but definitely like the love that people have. Like you were saying, there are people who are already on the internet when these things come out and they already have like the fandoms and everything made. But I just feel like that's easier. I feel like it almost makes it easier for the sequels to survive for, like, let's say 20 years, and let's say they get revitalized and people actually like the sequels in 10 to 15 years. I think a key to that is going to be the online community always being there, because you're going to have these people who are like, oh, I remember when these things were hated and now they're loved. You kind of have that with the prequels already. I think if it wasn't for social media, none of that would really happen. But I also
Mm.
think social media today kind of enabled a happier place for the sequels, because I think if the sequels did release when the prequels did, the hate would be similar, and I honestly think the sequels would actually probably age a little worse, kind of like the prequels are. This may be a really weird and hot take. I think out of all the trilogies we have so far, the prequels are going to age the worst. Maybe not with the new shows and everything, but when I say that, I mean by standing on their own. You don't count Clone Wars. You look at the three trilogies and the three movies from each trilogy individually. I really feel like the prequels are going to be the one that age the worst, just because of the time that they were released, the radicalization that happened when they came out, and the fans now. I mean, if you're a prequel fan, you're our age, if not a little older. There's going to come a point where we kind of start fading out as well, and then who's going to defend these prequel movies? The fucking kids who are,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
I hate, because you can't hate the sequel, or you can't hate the original trilogy 10 to 15 years from now. What the fuck are you going to do? Be like,
Oh, I
oh,
will.
oh, I'll hate you. I'll fucking hate you. Like, to me, that's like the bare minimum. You being a fan of the original trilogy is the bare minimum. Real quick, shout out to the super chat. Grievous Reborn, always paying the light bills over here. Star Wars: The Old Republic is full of toxic people on both sides, left and right. On the Imperial Fleet chat, always talking about politics. That doesn't surprise me. I play SWTOR from time to time, but I never look at the chat. SWTOR is a good game, but God, is it? There's so much you got to commit. I think it's like one of the least friendly MMOs that you could ever have for someone like me who doesn't play a lot of MMOs at all. It is so fucking confusing playing that game. But I love the stories. I love the era. Um, I don't know. I'm scared that Simon Pegg is going to be proved right, and that this fandom's almost going to eat themselves in the next 5 to 10 years. I mean,
I don't
especially
know. I
with the movie
think,
coming out.
yeah, movies scare me.
Mm-hmm.
I hope, and I'm optimistic. I'm a very optimistic person. I hope that, and I see this already online. I've seen more people come together than not. I've seen more people collectively say, you know what, we disagree, but this isn't worth it. Star Wars is more than this. I am seeing that. I mean, look at us right now. You know, this is proof that this can happen and does happen. The problem is it going to be on a scale level that we need it to be as? Because I don't know. I see. I don't want to go over certain groups and certain channels or anything, but I don't know. I'm starting to see a lot of it die out, but at the same time, it's also dying out more because the sequels. It's been a few years since they've come out, so it's not the hottest thing going on right now.
Yeah, I will admit a concern of mine is that the sequels fail to really engage a fandom post release, and even with the Fandom Menace, which is such a funny name because to me
It's
that ties in.
ironic.
Yeah, I feel like it has to tie into Star Wars, but you see them kind of branching out into other, like even Star Trek and Marvel. They call it the MCU, and
Which
I
is the
know
silliest thing
I,
because
I
most of
know
the
they think
products
that's
they've
funny.
released, I'm not even gonna get into it because it's
Yeah,
so
that's
silly
such a
and
funny tangent, but that is a like whoever started that. Oh, it's not the MCU anymore; it's the
the
MCU.
name is funny. The name is funny and it's a
I
clever name if there was actual evidence and reason to back it.
I thought it was awful. I was like, that is so
It's
fucking corny to me.
clever in that sense,
Yeah,
but there's in terms of logical reasoning behind the name, there's nothing to it. And
yeah.
the fact that people are actually eating this up and it's going around. Like I was
Oh,
like,
I know
it's a
it. I know
stupid
it.
thing. It's going around. It's a pretty widespread
But
thing.
but
I'm like,
but
what are you guys watching? Are we
that's
watching the
what's
same
funny to
stuff?
me
I'm
is
not even
that
a
like,
Marvel fan, and it's like, come on.
oh no, I'm with you too. As I'm like, now you're saying that it's an like there's a female problem, I guess, in the franchise. Like when I look at the Fandom Minnesota, even they are leaving Star Wars. They are not caring about Star Wars
Good.
anymore. What? No, but that's good. But like, but in a way of like the discourse around it is kind of dead. Thank God, there's not that many
Yeah.
controversies. But hey, man, I have to say, I kind of miss them. And I say that because to me, that means there was still an interest in Star Wars. They still thought there was something to be said about the franchise. They still wanted to talk about it. They still wanted to you see some greatness from the franchise. And now they've departed ways pretty much. That they're
I
like,
don't.
well, I just don't see them caring about Star Wars anymore.
I don't know. I guess it depends on your point of view because on one end I see where you're coming from. On my end, I'm like really happy they're moving on to this MCU stuff because it's proof that they're just grifters. It's proof that they will force a controversy out of nothing and people will eat it up. And I don't mean to generalize, but I can generalize because they generalize themselves in their own group, so I can specifically call that out. I could call out specific names. I'm not going to do that because I don't really care to do that. But this whole MCU controversy is proof that they are grifters who force controversy and negativity onto these products because it makes them money. And plenty of them have told others that that's what they do it for. Plenty of them have done complete 180 on their views because it gets them, negativity. Negative videos are always going to be more entertaining than positive videos. That's just how things are. So naturally that makes sense. But in a way, I'm kind of glad they're doing that because it's like, oh yeah, you guys are just going to move on to whatever's popular, find something to criticize that's not a real critique, and gather up a army of soldiers who are going to stop the SJWs from ruining their little nerd products. So I don't know. I guess it depends on how you look at it. But if we look at numbers, Kenobi did phenomenal in numbers. I mean, it was the biggest Disney Plus show, but in terms of engagement online, which is extremely important, yeah, it's downhill. And it's not in one section or another. Across the board, take the top 10 most popular Star Wars channels, compare their views now or in the past 3 years to how they were in, I say, 2016. I mean,
Well,
there's a
yeah,
huge difference.
just the interest in the franchise is dwindled all around. And I make this point all the time. If God, I mean, you know this specifically, but if anyone else in the chat has been following me for unfortunately 5 to 6, 7 years now, Instagram, that's kind of where I started. Instagram, we used to see probably in late 2015, definitely in 2016 as well, leading up to Rogue One and The Force Awakens. No one does numbers like this anymore on Instagram either. But on Instagram, all the big Star Wars pages, we used to all have a big chat. We called it the High Council because we're all a bunch of fucking nerds. Everyone calls it the High Council too. All the big YouTube channels, like you notice any Star Wars fans get together, they call themselves like the Council or whatever. But anyways, back in 2015, 2016, we were getting about 1,000 followers a week, every single Instagram page. Every time we posted something, tens and thousands of likes and engagements. And this is back when we used to be able to, we would work with third-party merchandise people who would sell these Star Wars products, like little BB-8 droids. Someone would sell really cool Star Wars T-shirts. Some would make their own stuff. Some of it was shitty, and some people fell for scams, and we did too, unfortunately. But we used to make, I mean, me personally speaking, when I was probably 16, 17 years old, I was being able to make $150 a week from advertisements because people wanted to pay to put their stuff on my Instagram page because of how enthusiastic everyone was for Star Wars. And then I hate to beat a dead horse here, and it's not even a reflection of the movie in terms of its merit, but when The Last Jedi came out after 2017, all of that changed. I kid you not, it was like we all look back on it. A lot of us Instagram people, because these Instagram pages, we've known each other for over half a decade at this point. I mean, we've all been very close to each other for years and working together. We've all seen the same thing repeat itself. And everyone says, it was so much better then because everyone was excited for Star Wars. Star Wars was new. It was fresh again. And after The Force Awakens, people were excited for the next movie. The Rogue One movie did very well too to keep that excitement going. So from 2014 to 2017, we did great on Instagram. But then the day after The Last Jedi came out, everything changed. People stopped paying us for promotions. We stopped getting a lot of followers. A lot of that was Instagram as well. They kind of shot themselves in the foot. Things are getting better now, thankfully, with the algorithm. But Instagram, the popularity that we saw from Star Wars on Instagram is nowhere close to what it used to be. And it's just kind of sad looking back because now we're nostalgic for something that was almost like literally only 5 years ago at this point. And now over 5 years ago, Jesus Christ. I mean, it just feels like forever. We're like, this was a different time. Like, you don't understand how good Star Wars was at this time. And like what we saw as influencers and creators, it's really sad to see how far it has fallen from that at this point, where now a lot of the guys that I used to work with on Instagram, they'll even say, hey man, like, I don't care anymore. People have quit Instagram. People have quit YouTube. It's just something about the franchise is just not the same anymore.
Burnout is real, and there's not. And I'm not. I know you're not blaming Last Jedi for this, but that was the start.
It
of
is.
all of that.
It is a huge factor.
It's the leading factor of a multi-factor problem. It's at the top. That is what started that whole Fandom Menace stuff. The huge controversy of The Last Jedi, Luke Skywalker, Jake Skywalker, and it was no fan, even Goldman will agree, who loves The Last Jedi. That movie caused a bit of a ruckus in the fandom, and it's really sad too because we look at Mandalorian, which was so hyped and so loved. That was a good time. I think Mandalorian really kind of give it a little spark.
Yeah, to me, it was what do you call it? Like bittersweet, because remember this was in 2019. We were getting Rise of Skywalker, but we had we didn't have the Battlefront 2 controversy. That didn't help back in The Last Jedi. Last Jedi had 2017 had a bit of a double whammy there. You had a really, really bad fallout from Battlefront 2. That was a huge controversy. Then you followed up with 2017. 2018 certainly didn't help. 2018 could have kind of turn things back around, but Solo doubled down.
I was gonna say, let's not forget Solo.
Yeah,
that was a nice infusion of the idea that Star Wars is dying. That doing poor numbers did not help anything.
And what's funny? What's funny to me? I want to say this before I forget, because I thought about this the other week. Since the writer for Kenobi has kind of come out and confirmed that the reason the movie didn't happen was because of Solo losing money in the box office, that whole narrative that Solo didn't lose money is complete. I have not heard anyone mention that in a long time. I remember for a while people, because shout out to Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. He'd always say the same thing, like Solo lost money. I think he was one of the people who like kind of started that movement. And
Mhm.
I never was part of the movement, of course, because I didn't really care. But he was right. Like Solo did lose money, and you'd always see those detractors and defenders for the movie. I don't care if you like it or not, but people who would kind of shill for Lucasfilm and be like, no, it actually really didn't. Blah. Like they would make these excuses up. Proof's in the pudding, man. That movie really set Lucasfilm back a lot, and
We went from Rogue One making over $1 billion, which is phenomenal for a spin-off film,
oh my god.
to Solo making, what was it, 350?
No, it should have made around. You know what?
Was
Maybe you're
it?
right. I thought it was around 500. I thought it was around 500 million.
We're just
Yeah.
doing box office, right?
Go. Yeah, just go ahead and hit that up because
392 million.
fuck. Oh my
That
god.
is
Oh my god. That's so
awful.
bad.
That is
I
awful.
really. Oh man, because I thought about it, I was like, it's the most expensive Star Wars movie they ever made, which is north of 250 million because of the reshoots and everything. And then you add the marketing into it, which they even scaled that back. That poor fucking movie was just a
So
disaster.
it didn't lose money. Its budget was 275 to 300 million.
275 to three to for what? 300 million for the. Okay.
So it didn't lose money. So that's still, I think that guy was just like, I mean,
I
it
don't know,
didn't
man. I think it lost.
make. I don't know. I don't know if that's marketing involved. I don't know.
Marketing. Let's just add at bare minimum 75 mil. How much are we in for the overhead at that point?
Is that not included with the budget?
No, but
No.
budget is always just production.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. They minimum probably broke even, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think
All right,
break
well.
even. Which, hey, it look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. A Star Wars movie making that much money, that's not good. That's not good.
Yeah.
I remember when that happened. I saw so, and I was like, it's a movie. And what's funny is even I wasn't gonna really see it, and then my girlfriend at the time wanted to see it, and I was like, okay, we'll see it. Which is weird because I'm the biggest Star Wars fan, Even that, I was like, the marketing was awful for it. It didn't interest me, but I enjoyed the movie. It was okay.
I will never forget walking out of a theater. This is back when Movie Pass was the thing. I missed that, and
Oh, yeah.
I used to go see movies by myself during the summer, and I remember because I graduated high school 2017, so I was at a high school, fresh out of high school when Solo was coming out, and I remember going to the theaters by myself and leaving and hearing this kid get out of the car with his parents. Kid's probably like 13 or 14, and he just said something as simple as like, "Oh, hey, did you guys hear they're making like there's a new Star Wars movie coming out? I think it's about Han Solo or so." Like I don't know why, but like that always
The day it's out.
yeah, like that always stuck with me. Or I was like, man, like this is what people think of this movie, Like it just felt you could just tell them like this isn't. I shouldn't hear that, It should have been more like, hey, I want to see the new Han Solo movie. Like it's been coming out. Like just I could tell immediately. I was like, wow, this movie's like not. This kid's at the fucking theater, not
Something is off.
realizing. Yeah. Man.
I don't know. I had hope with Taika's film because I liked Taika, but after Love and Thunder, I don't as much anymore. I never saw Love and Thunder, okay? I never saw it, but from what I've heard about it, and I've seen stuff on it, I don't know if I want him to do a Star Wars movie, let alone the whole idea that he doesn't really have a script ready, and he's just kind of, it might happen, it might not. I don't like that. That's just like, come on, dude. So I had hope for that, but now I'm like, ooh, because the next Star Wars movie the next Star Wars movie might be honestly the most important one, because going off of Rise of Skywalker, or going off the sequels, I'll say
the next one has to be special.
There's a lot of weight on it, which was why I always thought that Rogue Squadron was a weird choice. Not saying it can't be that special film, because it very easily can. People love starfighters. People love X-wings. It's simple as that. I don't know. I honestly think if they are just say, you know what, we're doing Old Republic, we're doing War of the Sith, or something.
Yeah,
but at the same time, something like that will be like, oh my gosh, we're gonna see. Because look, you get people in the theater by giving a trailer with a bunch of Jedi and a bunch of Sith fighting. It's simple as that. Look at how good the Old Republic cinematic trailers do, and those aren't even marketed.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would get. Yeah, they need to do something like that, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, only time will tell. And I mean, But what I hope is, you guys are watching and everything. We're all diehard Star Wars fans, and we're in this very unique time where Star Wars really does have to figure out what it wants to be. What is Star Wars? What are we going to do going forward? And so I hope by the end of this year, by the end of next year, maybe literally this day next year, next time we do a Chatooine show sometime next year, um, we're a lot more excited and happier about the future of Star Wars.
And we said that last year.
Did we?
We
Fuck.
Dude, oh yeah. We said
God
that.
damn
Guys,
it.
look, we got Kenobi coming out.
Oh,
After,
yeah.
yes, we did. We were like, look, with Kenobi coming out, I think it's gonna be a turn in the fandom.
my
I think
God. I remember being like 2020's
Here
the
we
year,
are.
man.
Here
and
we
dude,
are.
fuck, dude.
Here we
When
are.
are we
So
gonna learn?
I don't mean to be a downer,
No, I love it. I
but
love the honesty.
it's kind of
'cause,
funny. It
wow,
makes me laugh. I'm like, well, guys, we've said this a few
I'm
times,
such
haven't we?
fucking pothead. I like the past couple years have just mixed together. Holy shit!
It's
I
the
can't believe
definition
you're
of insanity.
fucking right.
We keep saying, next time. It's like,
And I think that's why I've been getting burnt out. Like coming to think about it, like literally, we're both mutuals with Okairo. Shout out to our boy. I'm literally DMing him like yesterday and today of just being like, I don't know what it is, man. Like I just like I love it so.
yep.
I do. Pout memes. I shit you not. I'm telling you. I am thinking about rewatching the entire like franchise in this next week or so just to see if I fucking feel something to be like.
I'm not there, man. I see.
I need to make videos. I need to make videos for Star Wars, and there's literally nothing I feel like I want to talk about, like at all. There's some things I do, but like I don't even know what to say anymore at times, and it's just
Yeah.
scary. And
You know
now that you
what's-
talk about last year and how we were excited for this year,
Oh
oh
no,
my
I broke
God.
you. I broke you.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I don't know what to do. Like I might have to jump off a bridge with my channel and just call it a career.
You know what's kept me going? It's like, because I kind of stopped making videos, but this is weird. Lightsabers. I just got this one. Freaking love this thing. I might be getting a NeoPixel Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 1
Yeah,
lightsaber, and it's gorgeous. And so like stuff like that has kept me going. Also just like I have like that whole Episode 9 concept thing I've been making.
yeah.
Yeah, I have a new one that I need to start working on and stuff. So, like things like that. It might be mindless hope at this point, but it's also just I'm just having fun with this because
Yeah,
that's kind of all I've got right now.
the games can kind of help me from time to time. I like playing the games a lot.
Ooh, yeah.
The books like the High Republic that kind of got me back into it. For oh my God, I had a friend. He's a media person in Star Wars, and he's probably not watching it, so I can say it. But this motherfucker. It's no secret that I'm quite the conservative person. I don't really care if you're, left-leaning liberal, if you're alt-right, whatever. I don't care about political affiliations of people. But I had a friend who I was leaving the High Republic panel at Celebration, and I met with his friends, and we were talking, and he was like, "Hey, man, how you been?" And blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "Yeah, I just got out of the High Republic thing. Like, I know it's kind of surprising. Like, well, whatever." And he was like, "Wait, you like the High Republic?" I was like, yeah. He was like, you like the High Republic, because he was like, you're pretty like, and I know what he was trying to say. Basically, like a lot of people who I guess he thinks, I think he thought that since I'm conservative, I would not like the High Republic. I guess
It's because these goofballs turned it into some cultural thing, which if you've read the books is not true at all. It's so sad.
Yeah,
it's sad how widespread
like,
it is.
And that's what I thought too. Or I was like, dude, like you should be like the last person to fall for it, not only because you're left leaning, but also because you like the High Republic. Like I thought you would be like, oh, like of course, only likes the High Republic. It's a good fucking book series. I really liked it for what it is, and we even agreed on like the last book that came out that ended the phase one. I think it was the Fallen Star or something like that by Claudia Gray. It was just fucking awful. And I told him, I was like, I really didn't like it. He was like, yeah, me either, and everything. But I thought it was hysterical to me. I was like, man, even this guy who I have known this man, he knows my name, like my full name. He knows what I look like. We have talked on a myriad of times. I love this guy to death. Even he is kind of to the point where he's like, I thought like it was, you didn't like it because of your conservatism and shit and everything, but it shows to me that like there's still things of value in this franchise, because I do think the High Republic is pretty good. It started with a very cool concept that I wish people would focus on more in Star Wars, the Jedi being good. I'm tired of the Jedi being the dumbest fucking idiots of the entire goddamn galaxy. Every single time someone makes a new Star Wars show, they're like, how stupid are the fucking Jedi? Like how stupid can we make them? It's beyond annoying at this point. Um,
I think a High Republic trilogy would be awesome. I mean,
It'd be perfect because the Fandom Menace would call it SJW woke shit, and so it would get all the attention from
female
that.
no female lead, man. You know what that means?
Oh my
Kathy
god,
Kennedy is back at it
bullshit!
again.
It would not be a female lead; it'd be a non-binary lead. they'd be they'd be Islamic and Native American at the same time by some miracle of God.
I'm gonna jump off a bridge. And the culture war. It's just a never-ending cycle. I thought books would be the thing that ends it because like they're not gonna read the books, so they're not gonna care. Nope, they don't read the books, but they still care.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's so frustrating. But yeah, for me, I think also the amount of canceled projects and canceled movies and backing the dates and stuff. I think that for me personally is honestly probably the biggest factor for just being burnt out.
So this year marks the 10-year anniversary of the Lucasfilm buyout, and my dumb ass should really do another documentary. I did one, the fans versus Disney back in 2018, I think, and that one did really well in views. It's over 1 million some views. I fucking hate it. It's awfully edited. The music is way too fucking loud. It's the same goddamn thing on a loop. Like I hate every documentary I've ever fucking made. But I get good praise for them, and so I'm happy. So I should make another one this year called The Fans versus Lucasfilm, and I'm going to get ostracized just from the name alone. But it's I'm paying homage to fucking the people versus George Lucas, and also
the people hate that too. So you're just gonna get both sides hating you.
Exactly. So I feel like I should do the fans or the people versus Lucasfilm. And I will document naturally the last 10 years. And of course, it's non-biased. Like I'm never biased in these documentaries. I really wish that was more apparent, but apparently it's not. But I'll be as non-biased as possible. And I really think while making this, bro, I'm going to see why, like, it's going to be so easy to paint a picture why people don't like Star Wars today as much as they even did 10 years ago, because of what you just said of like, when we go through this, Cairo even told me he's got a nice little fucking list of things of like how all this played out.
Me.
Yeah, I can't wait to fucking see it because it'll be a good reference point. But I don't even have to see his stuff because you can just look back at fucking history of just every instance of something happening, and it like literally everything they have ever once planned has been completely and utterly changed or delayed or canceled. Like that is the history of these past 10 years with Lucasfilm. And I think if I paint this out in the documentary, people are going to realize that and be like, holy shit, like it's not that hard. Just say something and you fucking make it. Like stop announcing these projects and like they just never have like just I understand you want to market things, but I mean, how hard would it be? I guess imagine it'd be pretty hard, but how hard would it really be to make an entire series? Let's say you make a fucking movie. Like could you imagine if Kathleen Kennedy came out next week or something like that, or let's say it's December, and she's like, we're proud to announce a new Star Wars movie. It's called Rogue Squadron, written and directed by legendary creator Patty Jenkins. Here's a trailer. And you're like, oh, cool, this trailer looks really good. And at the end of the trailer, Pout memes, it says, releasing this Saturday. I mean, would that
wouldn't be any different than the way they kind of market the shows? It's kind of like
I would like that better though, because it would be like they'd be like, no, you don't understand. It's done.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
It is. She holds up a fucking floppy disk and is like, it is right here. I swear. I
don't
God,
know, man. I don't know.
Movie.
Look how much crap was changed on episode 9, like a month before it released, or so, it was like 2 months. Like I'm like, I don't know, man.
Oh, I know it.
It'd have to be like. It had to be like 7 days before.
No,
tickets are available now. They are at the theaters.
Yeah, they come out with like, what if they never like revealed anything for Skeleton Crew? Like they just kept working on that thing because I mean everyone was talking about it. Like all the leakers were like, man, there's this series people working on. I don't know anything about it, man. Like if they worked on that goddamn thing for 2 years and everyone and their mother was like, yeah, there's a Star Wars series. Like we don't really know what it is. And then one day in fucking May, Kathleen Kennedy's like, happy May 4th. I'm proud to announce Skeleton Crew. It's out now. It is out right Disney now. Plus. Go watch it. I think that would do wonders for like let me be the fucking marketing director, goddamn it. Like that, I feel like that would genuinely do wonders for Star Wars because people are like, holy shit, the new Skeleton series is out. And what are you talking about, Mark? They just dropped it today. No, it's gonna get canceled. No, it is out right now. It's gonna be delayed. No, it's out.
It's gonna be delayed, bro. You can go watch it right now.
It's there. I think that would give some confidence for Lucasfilm if you can do it. But they just keep saying so much. It's like it's like a boyfriend in a bad relationship where he's like, baby, I promise I'm gonna get better. No, I'll just keep. We're guys. We make these fucking promises, and it never fucking comes. It's like, okay, it'll be 10 years
I'm
from
taking
now.
therapy now, okay? I'm taking
Yeah.
therapy. I'm on the good pills, okay? Just
I swear to God, baby, just stay. Just give me a fucking 6 more months, goddammit. Like,
give me another chance.
Yeah,
It's like
please.
Mr. Aziz in Spider-Man 2. Just give me another chance.
Yeah. Oh,
That's how it
God.
feels as Star Wars fans with their projects. Just one more chance. I promise this movie is gonna make it, okay? And it's gonna be good.
And I'm tired of Kathy beating my ass for it, man.
Kathy
she's
is the abusive girlfriend. in
Yeah, she
this.
keeps putting the fucking candle wax on my back, and I'm like, it hurts, but next time, Kathy, next time. It'll never happen. But I think that's all we got for today before we fucking get banned from Star Wars forever from Lucasfilm. Thank you guys for tuning in to the season finale for season 2 of Chatooine. We did 43 episodes. Technically like 42 or 44. I really don't know. I think I skipped the number 2 whenever I was uploading these motherfuckers on podcast. We will try to come back for season 3. Now, don't forget, season 3 is literally next month. It's just four or 5 weeks without us. You guys can manage. We're gonna come back with new things, new segments into the show. Hopefully, no more technical issues. That's more of a Mayan thing. I'm trying to fix that. We're just going to try to improve the show as much as we can. So during the meantime, if there's any other Star Wars podcast or show that you guys like, please watch them and also tell us what we can do to improve on Chatooine. What do you want to see from Chatooine going forward? Is there certain segments you want? Do you guys want us to have a side show, or maybe like me and Longa, we do book reviews for Star Wars and don't really do a whole episode of Chatooine for that? Is there specific YouTube videos you guys want us to do, or anything on Instagram or on Twitter? Please let us know. We live to serve. All right, we're here to entertain you. That is the whole point of this, is that we can talk about Star Wars. You guys can be entertained from it. So please feel free to give us your thoughts in the comment section whenever the stream is over. Shoot us a DM on Twitter, on Instagram. We have a Discord as well if you guys want to join that. I can't access it at the moment just because of my own account. But send an email to Chatooine. I think the email is on the YouTube channel as well. Just let us know what we can do to make this show better for you guys, because we want that for everybody. We want you guys to really enjoy the show. Please spread the word. Please leave a like anytime you can. It really does mean a lot. So thank you guys for watching. We will see you all for next season of Chatooine. And may the Force be with you always.
What?